Hello and welcome to lesson 50, A2 level perfectly spoken. My name is Natalie. Today is a review class. Let's get started. Okay, so let's have a look. Right, so in this class we will look at vocabulary used with sport from lesson 46. We will look at everyday problems. Do you remember lesson 47? And we will look at the conditionals, which we did in lesson 48. Okay, so quite a lot of content. It's good as a review. So basically, we are reviewing things from previous lessons. Okay, so first of all, let's start. I'm going to start with some pronunciation. On the screen, I will put some words, see if you recognise which words related to sport. Okay, so here you have, as you can see, you have here the phonetic script and the first word on the list. What is it? It's in phonetic script. Don't worry if you find it difficult. With practice, you can learn the phonetic script. Okay, so, right, the first one is circuit, circuit, circuit. Okay, and the second one, be careful with this vowel. Remember, the two dots mean it's a long sound. Okay, so the second one is court, court, court. Okay, exactly the same pronunciation as the verb catch in the past, court. But here it's C-O-U-R-T, and you, for example, the place you play tennis is on a court. Okay, next one, easy. I think you have a diphthong here. It's field, field. And after field, what is it? Yes, it's pitch, 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 where you play football, of course. Okay, and the last one, I think easy. Last one, no. Next column, you've got track, ring, and rink. So I'll read those again. Circuit, court, field, pitch, track, ring, and rink. Do you remember how to spell them? Don't worry, now I will show you how to spell them. Okay, so have a look at this slide. Here are the words: circuit, court, field, pitch, track, ring, and rink. And just a reminder for you of the words that go with them. Oh, sorry. So here we go. Football or soccer, you play on a pitch, or sometimes we say field. Badminton. Badminton is a sport you play with two rackets and a shuttlecock. Okay, and you play badminton on a court with a net. Baseball. Where do you play baseball? You play baseball in a field. Ice hockey on a rink, because you need the ice rink. Basketball on a court. Boxing in a ring. Funny, it's ring, even though it's square. Running. Obviously, you can go running anywhere, but if you're doing a running like 100 meters, 500 meters, and you're going round and round in like a special sports stadium, then we call that a track. You go running on a track. Okay, and then tennis on a court, ice skating obviously on a rink, racing or Formula One on a track, volleyball on a court unless you're at the beach, and cricket on a field. Okay, so I think that's it. Right, so here I've got some questions for you. Right, just some questions. So have a look at the questions and we will answer them together. So the first one, when you run on a track, you do 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that called? It's the same with Formula One. 1, 2, 3. Yes, you do laps. Laps. Okay, so do you remember that word, laps? Oh, hang on. Okay, so laps. L-A-P-S. Right, now how do you say in football? Do you remember? Yes, 3-0. We don't say in football 3-0. Why? I don't know. 3-0. So 0 is nil. Okay, number 3. If you touch the ball with your hand in football, this is a unless you're the goalkeeper. So if you touch the ball with your hand, this is the okay, and the word is foul. Foul. F-O-U-L. Foul. And number 4. What's the difference between an umpire and a referee? Do you remember? What's the difference between an umpire and a referee? An umpire is for tennis, so it's the person watching and doing the points, and the referee is the one in football that runs around to make sure that there are no fouls. Okay, very good. So now that's this like revision of vocabulary related to sport. Do you do sport? Do you do any sport? I don't. I should. Well, no, that's not true. I cycle. I go on my bicycle sometimes. Okay. All right. And the next one. Now what we're going to do is look at some everyday problems. Okay, everyday problems. Do you remember the everyday problems? Let's have a look. All right. So, first one. This one. Oh dear. To slip or to fall over. So, for example, I slipped. Notice the pronunciation. I slipped in the street. I fell over in the street. Okay, they're the same. I slipped. I slipped. Okay, another one. To miss the bus. So yesterday I missed the bus. But it was okay because another bus came. To spill something. My children do this every day. To spill something. So for example, I spilt my coffee. I spilt my tea. I spilt my lemonade. Also, it can be regular or irregular. I spilled my coffee. Now this poor lady on the train here, she has a headache or she isn't feeling well. She doesn't look very good. So I hope she's okay. Break, yes. So for example, my umbrella broke. Here, notice we kind of put the active subject as the umbrella, but you could say, I broke my umbrella, or I broke my cup. Oh dear. To burn the dinner. I burnt the dinner. I burned the dinner. Oh, not good. Have an argument. We had an argument. So, for example, I had an argument with my daughter. I had an argument with my son. I had an argument with my boss. I had an argument with my neighbor. I had an argument with my mother. That never happened. Okay, to fall asleep. I fell asleep at my desk. You know, today I went to my friend's house to feed her 2 cats. She has 2 cats. She's on holiday. I went to her house to give the cats food. And I sat on the sofa and I fell asleep in my friend's house. And I woke up with 1 cat here and 1 cat here, like looking at me. And I was sleeping. Okay. All right, let's have a look at some more things. So, to work late. To work late. It's not good for you. To oversleep. I didn't hear the alarm clock and I overslept. That's terrible. Okay. All right. So, think about, when was the last time you spilt some coffee or some tea? When was the last time you, like me, fell asleep in a strange situation? When was the last time you missed the bus? When was the last time you worked late? When was the last time you burnt the dinner? Or do you never burn the dinner? I have burnt the dinner before. Okay, so just think about and maybe write sentences, especially with the ones that you find more difficult. Okay, and now we're going to have a quick look again at the conditionals. All right, so remember we have here some examples of conditionals. You've got the 0 conditional, which is for facts, things that are always true. If you heat water, it boils. If I read a book at night, I fall asleep, always. Then you've got first conditional, is possible, something that's possible. So, for example, if he wants to come, I'll book a table. If he phones me very late, I won't answer the phone. If he sends me a WhatsApp, I will answer the WhatsApp. Okay? Do you have WhatsApp in your country? I love WhatsApp because it's quick communication. Okay, and second conditional, hypothetical. So this is the one that's a bit more complicated, not because of the grammar, but because of the concept. So if she had more time, but she doesn't, she would go to the gym, but she doesn't. Okay, so this is actually very useful, and we use it as we did in the lesson, in lesson 48, 48 or 49. So basically, you're talking about something that isn't true, a situation that doesn't exist now or doesn't exist in the future. And we use this a lot. But as I said, in the lesson, we used it to talk about illness. So if I were you, I would go to bed. If I were you, I wouldn't take another pill. If I were you, I would stop drinking milk. Okay? So we used it in the context of health. Right, so let's just have a quick look at the form. Okay? So let's have a look. Here we are. So you should go to the doctors, or as an alternative, if I were you, I would go to the doctors. I'm not you. So if I were you, but I'm not you, I would go to the doctors, but I'm not going to because I'm not you and I don't need to go to the doctors. Okay? So do you have an equivalent of second conditional in your language? And do you use a subjunctive or do you use a past form like we do in English? Okay. So, sorry. So here I'm just going to highlight some of the grammar. So you've got the past simple in the first clause. Notice here we use were, not was, although colloquially people use was, but technically, because it's like a subjunctive idea, we use were, even for I. In past simple, normal, no. Okay, so if I were you, I would go to the doctors. All right, and then, as I say, you've got the were and would go. And so it's easy. I would go, I would see, he would think, he would call, he would buy. You can use it with would and the infinitive. Okay? So here's a quick reminder of the form. So let's do a bit of practice. If I won €1,000,000, I would... So what would you do? So for example, if I won €1,000,000, I would give some of it to charity. Some of it. Not all of it, but some of it, yes. In fact, there's actually a comma. There should be here a comma. I'm sorry. I was testing you. Okay, so if I won €1,000,000, comma, I would give some of it to charity. I don't know what charity. It's a very difficult decision. So now write this sentence. If I won €1,000,000, I would. Okay. And next one. Okay, I wouldn't go to the beach if. So for example, I wouldn't go to the beach if there were lots of jellyfish. Jellyfish. I don't like jellyfish. Now, what is a jellyfish? It is an animal that lives in the sea, in lakes, no, only salt water, and it's like this, and it has tentacles, and if the tentacles touch you, it hurts. Okay, so they're horrible. And we have here on the coast of Catalonia, Spain, we have a lot of jellyfish sometimes. It depends on the day. For example, I went to the beach 2 weeks ago and there were no jellyfish. It was fantastic, no jellyfish. But I wouldn't go to the beach if there were lots of jellyfish. All right, so you write this sentence, I wouldn't go to the beach if, and finish it with a hypothetical sentence. Okay, I would move to the UK if. I would move to the UK if I got a very, very, very well-paid job. So this is true. I am from the UK. My family are in the UK, my mum and my brother. But I don't live in the UK. I live here and I don't want to go. But I would move to the UK if I got a very, very, very well-paid job. It had to be very well paid. So I could come to Barcelona every weekend. Okay, all right. And next one. If I were a man, my name... So in my case, if I were a man, my name would be David. And this is true. My brother's name isn't David. My brother's name is Nick. but his middle name is David. So I think my mum liked the name David. So if I were a man, my name would be David, I'm sure. Okay, now that is actually the end of the lesson. So why don't you write some second conditional sentences? They're very good fun. For example, if you won €1,000,000, what would you do? But if you won €20, what would you do? If you won €50,000, what would you do? If you won €10,000, what would you do? Okay, because it's different depending on the quantity of money, although of course money is not everything. So thank you very much for joining me. I will see you in lesson 51. So take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.